from the beyond and taunting interviews with your cringe-worthy host, Woody G. Watts. Welcome to Hill City Paranormal.
I'm Woody, and this is Jared, right? So we're done. We're ready. This is the beginning of a new segment.
A new segment, yes. It should be exciting for everybody.
So, all right. So this new segment, I can't take the credit for it. I have to give that to you, actually, for wanting to talk banter, fun, and watch some awesome old movies, right?
That's right. I figured that. It'd be a little something different. I mean, we can still talk about scary stuff and cryptids and paranormal, but, we can throw in, like, let's say we want to do talk about a movie, like a scary movie or something, or maybe a book we read, or maybe even an experience or something like that. Just kind of go back and forth, and I thought it'd be kind of a fun thing to do, so.
Did you instantly regret the idea when I recommended watching Dead Heat? You're like, I don't think, on second thought, I don't think I want to do this.
Well, at first I thought, Dead Heat, like, what is he talking about? Because I know that there's another movie called Dead Heat, but it's like a crime drama. It's like an actual, like a thriller crime drama or something. I can't remember who's in it, but I think it was done like in the early 90s. But then when you told me who was in it, and then I thought, I'm pretty sure I saw that like years ago, and I only remember bits and pieces of it. So I definitely had to watch it again. So,
all right. So all right, for those of you listening in on our conversation, Dead Heat. All right. So I subscribe to Shudder, which is a streaming service that is just horror, scary. Classic, new, all things scary, right? I think it's from AMC, if I'm not mistaken.
It is, yeah. And I don't know why I haven't subscribed to that yet. I know my wife and I have talked about it a number of times, and we just, for some reason, we just haven't done it yet. But we got to pull the trigger on that soon. So
it's honestly, it's pretty good because when did it was months ago when I started it, and for one, I think it's like, I don't know, $50 a year, something like that. I think the price is like $4 a month, right? And they have all of the streaming, all of like the classic stuff on there, like Reanimator, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, like all the sequels. Right. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So they have newer stuff, but I'm kind of into the older stuff. So for all of the older stuff to be in one place is really convenient for me because we've moved a couple times and I have no clue where half of my movies and VHS's tapes are.
Right.
So that's this service is pretty good for that, especially for the classic stuff that like most people have seen, but there are still some hidden gems in there that's like, wait a minute, I don't ever remember that, and it's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of stuff out there that I know there's stuff out there that I've never seen before, and even stuff that I have seen when I was younger. It's kind of like you want to go revisit that. Kind of brings that back a little bit of nostalgia, from being young. So should be good. I'll definitely have to check that out.
Well, the funny part was, so I was scrolling through, and I had never seen Dead Heat, right? I'd never seen it, and so I was scrolling through, and the artwork caught my attention because it was like a police badge in the awesome '80s style with like a zombie hand wrapped around it,
right?
And I was like, hold up, I think I just scrolled past the best movie that could have ever been made, and then once I read the description, I was like, I'm in for a treat. And then I saw who was in it. And then I knew I was in for an even bigger treat.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can't go wrong with Treat Williams and Joe Piscopo. So,
all right. So here's the description, right? All right, a cop and his undead partner must chase down the diabolical villain who killed him. I mean, that's it.
Yeah, and you're like, wait, what?
Wait, how many times can I watch this?
Yeah.
Like, you know. so this movie, all right. So did he? All right. So for starters, if you haven't seen it, you got to go see it. Obviously, and it's still on there. They haven't taken it off. Secondly, just be ready for the first what Jared, like 30 minutes of Joe Piscopo just being Joe Piscopo.
Yeah, I mean, so when did this movie come out? Was it 85?
88.
88. Okay.
88.
So,
A good year.
I mean, I think that was after like Joe Piscopo's big stardom in Saturday Night Live and that kind of thing. It's I think just like a lot of Saturday Night alum, he broke off from the show and then started doing movies like a lot of them did. But he is, I liked him in Saturday Night Live. I thought he was funny, especially he did the Frank Sinatra impression.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Like I loved it when he did those. But he is definitely he's a goofy character, that's for sure.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is like really before he really hit the gym super hard.
Right.
You know, like this is like right in that beginning time period where he was still kind of normal. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. He just got ripped, right? It was like a period of time where it was just like, whoa, Joe, slow down. But yeah, this was like, for me, the first 20 minutes or so, like it was almost like, gosh, I hope somebody throttles him back, because it was like just a never-ending thing of one-liners that it was like, oh, Joe, they were just letting him have free reign, and then it seemed like they didn't, like they stopped it, and he almost settled down a little bit or so. I don't know how to describe it. Like it was like, or if they filmed the movie and then they went back and reshot the first part, it was like, we need more Joe, like we need Joe, you be funnier or something, because like it was like a definite change after the first couple minutes of the movie.
Maybe whoever was editing was like, after the first 20 minutes, like, I can't take this guy anymore, so I'm cutting out all of his one-liners.
That's exactly. I can see the editor now. Like he's like, oh, all right, everybody, we've had enough Joe. Okay, that's it. But on the other side of that, Treat Williams, like he's kind of awesome. I think he is like, not that not a lot of people know him. He's been in a ton of movies, but like he's really not that like big name, right? I guess that blew up. But he's done a lot of B movies and a lot of like of the Lifetime style movies and shows. But like he was actually excellent in this, and I was like, Treat, like this. You need to do more movies, man. Well, more like sci-fi movies. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe more non-Joe Piscopo movies.
Oh my gosh! I'm wondering if Treat about halfway through did the same thing. He was like, "All right, we've had enough, Joe." And then the funny. All right, I don't even know how to even begin to talk about the movie. Like, I think it's just like one of those movies where you have to watch it with another person too, so that you can kind of laugh at it and like just pause and be like, I can't wait a minute, what just happened. And
we should probably tell whoever's listening to the podcast that there may be some spoiler alerts, so
yes,
if you want to watch the movie on your own, you don't want to know how it ends, it's probably maybe not listen to this episode until after you watch it. So
that is a great, we don't want to ruin the cinematic gold diamond that is Dead Heat for you, because trust me, with the story, it does have some pretty unexpected things happen.
It does.
So yes. So spoiler alert from here on out. Okay. All right.
I was just gonna. No, I was just gonna say. I know that the movie opens up with these two guys, robbing a bank, and the cops show up and start shooting at them, and they're shooting at him, but they're not dying and that kind of thing. And so right away you kind of figure, there's something going on here besides, they're not wearing body armor or anything like that. So there was a scene in there, if you remember, where finally one of the guys somebody throws a hand grenade, and the one guy looks down at it, and like in a cartoon moment, just says "uh-oh," and then it explodes. Do you remember that scene?
I remember that.
And I laughed out loud because I'm like, it's so cartoonish. It's so funny that
it's like it almost sets up like, all right, first of all, I love the idea of the movie, right? Like I love the setup. And like you said, like when you intro it, you've got this big shootout, and then all of a sudden, like you see these, like they really intro it really well, right? But then quickly, and I think really it actually starts with that moment. You know, this like, okay, well, they're not going to take the zombie thing very seriously, whatsoever, you know. But it's a great setup, and I think after I watched it and we talked about it a little bit, that's why I was like, if this was remade, they absolutely could make it into a series, or like they could go two ways. They could go slapstick, kind of like it wasn't slapstick, but with a lighter tone, like they did, or they could go heavy with it too, and it would do. I think it could go both ways. I agree.
You could almost make it more of a horror factor and make it more suspenseful, and make it so that there's not like the Episcopal one-liners and stuff like that in there. So I agree. You could either make like a really good, suspenseful, scary movie out of it, or and honestly, even like a little bit of a slapstick series would be kind of fun too. I mean, I would watch both.
Yeah, exactly. Both would. I would be okay with both. And then, and there's one person, and I'm going to get to it. Don't let me forget the big villain in it, because when I saw him, my jaw literally hit the floor. So all right. So like you were saying, like you intro this big shootout. They're getting shot. They don't die. And then like one thing after the other, they finally stumble onto this, to the villain's lair. Not lair, but office. It obviously is like a corporation, and then, treat. So they're trying to find, they're figuring out the clues that, what's up with these bodies not dying, because one of the partners had actually performed the autopsy on one of the bank robbers, like a week or two before, or a couple days before, or something. Like she did the actual autopsy, and she was like, I recognize this scar. After they recover the body, she's already looked at him, right? So they kind of go down this rabbit hole, and then they go to the corporate headquarters, and they find the device that is actually bringing these people back. Okay,
like a zombie making machine or something like that.
Yeah, it's like this big platform that, and again, it's 88, so the special effects, they clearly didn't have the biggest budget, but the set pieces were great though. Like that whole setup was awesome, But then what I thought was funny was the way that spoiler alert, Treat Williams died leading up to his reanimation. It was so nonchalant, and like the way he died, just a heads up, was that he got locked into a room that was a vacuum, and basically the air sucked out of the room, right? Do I remember that correctly?
It was like this, it was a fairly big room, and they talked about like how they euthanized the animals or something that they tested on. And which I found was kind of funny, that like there's this big room, everything is nice, neat, and clean, and it's right out. Like the room is right out in the open. It's not like it's hidden somewhere. Like you walk into the lobby, and then right to your right is like this euthanasia room, which I found was very disturbing and funny at the same time. And because Joe Piscopo runs into this zombie biker guy.
Oh yes,
yeah,
the big one.
He starts fighting with him, and that's who ends up pushing Treat Williams into that room, and then essentially like it starts up and sucks the air out, and so he basically suffocates.
So if you don't watch the movie, or you don't want to watch it, you have to at least watch it for the creature makeup for the big guy that fought, like, right, like, because that was and the other scene that we're going to get to in the restaurant, that was pretty
absolutely.
cool too.
Yeah, the biker guy looked like, I mean, clearly he must have been in a motorcycle accident, and he hit the ground face first, because his face was completely jacked up, and so they must have reanimated him with that still messed up face.
I'm actually looking. Yeah, I'm looking at the picture right now, and because he's got like almost three noses. It was like he had like three faces, but it was great though. The creature makeup, the special effects were great, because this was like clearly before CGI.
Exactly.
So, but that was a great kind of lead up, because you're like, what the heck is this? Because the other zombies weren't out there; they were just kind of weird, like. But then what I thought was, one, like you said, this is where we're going to put the puppies and the dogs to put down in this air vacuum, okay, which is horrific in itself. And like you said, it's just kind of nonchalant, and then they kill Treat, and then within 5 minutes they haul him over to the reanimated room, and we're like, hey, what the heck? Let's try. And
I don't know if you caught this as well, but I'm sitting there thinking, okay, so it's Joe Piscopo, and then it's the doctor who performs autopsies, and I found it very, I don't know what you'd say, convenient that this autopsy doctor knew exactly how to run that sophisticated machinery to bring him back to life. I mean, it's not like there was just like a go button that you pressed, like she was flipping switches and all this. I'm like, how does she know how to work this machine? Like, do all doctors know how to work zombie making?
He was like, here, let me enter my passcode in. Yo, here, I'll show you how to do it, guys. Step aside.
Like, I don't understand how she knows how to work this machine. So,
oh my gosh, it was so. I knew from the bank robbery scene that it was going to be goofy, but like from that point too, it was like, well, hold up, like they honestly have no regard for like life or anything, because they're just like, hey, all right, let's try it. And then Treat wakes up, and then like everybody's kind of cool with it. They're like, oh yeah, it worked. This is great. And then he's just kind of living again, and like there's no shock. Everybody kind of expected it. And then he's there.
Yeah, they checked his heartbeat, and they're like, you don't have a heartbeat. And he's like, huh, okay, well, let's go about our normal day.
He had until later, he showed no emotional, like, I can't even describe it. Like, he showed no thought about it, no nothing. Like, it was just kind of like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, we gotta find the guy that killed me, but didn't directly kill me, but that is overseeing all this. It was like, man, it just kind of skipped like 30 minutes of unused movie. I mean,
and maybe a lot of that part of the film ended up on the editing floor or something, but it seemed kind of rushed. Like, okay, we got to get through this. We got to get to the meat of this whole story. So let's just let's go through this pretty quick. So,
well, they used up too much time with the Joe Piscopo one-liners in the beginning. They were like, we got an hour and a half, guys.
Yeah,
we got to get
and I
through
did
this.
skip over the fact that when you were talking about Piscopo and his gym workout, I was going to say it was hard to tell because he wore, like, I mean, this is the 80s, but he wore like this fake leather jacket with these big shoulder pads in it throughout the whole movie.
It's horrible.
So
it's like the stereotypical tough guy outfit.
Yeah.
It's what Sylvester Stallone would wear in like every movie from 80 to about 93.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And then like I don't even know how to describe the rest of the movie. I think you just got to watch it. But I think when I was watching it, because I had a different perspective, I was thinking like, man, it'd be cool to kind of talk and make fun of this. I wasn't watching it to be like, I don't know, to learn anything or for a great movie. I was just like, man, I just wish I had like a group of people and we were just pointing at the screen right now,
right,
kind of laughing at it, because not to fast forward, but like there's a scene, and like Treat Williams does over the course of the next hour and a half, he starts to show effects of him dying. It's clearly makeup effects, and it's very subtle. But I think that the next shocking scene was when they went to that. Was it a butcher shop, or was it like a restaurant or Chinatown?
I think it was like
something
it was
like
a
that.
butcher shop in Chinatown. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that one was like, okay, now this is horror movie. Like this, they could go further with this in that scene, where they started reanimating the the dead animals, basically.
Yeah, because I mean, I think at some point, Treat Williams' character finds out that he's only got so many hours to live, like 10 hours or something. So they're going to be like, let's find out who's involved in all this kind of stuff. And they go talk to this guy at the butcher shop, and he's like this old Chinese guy, and there's the butcher, who's like this huge giant sumo wrestling looking guy, and he's standing there with a big meat cleaver in his hand, and blood all over his apron and everything, and throughout this whole room there's like dead chickens, like butchered chickens and butchered cows and pigs and all that kind of stuff, and at some point the old man hits a switch, and lightning bolts start going all over the place, and then all these dead animals come to life. It's
the best part of the movie. The best part.
I read somewhere when I was talking about this or looking at this movie that whoever the guy was that did the lightning bolt stuff for this movie is the same guy that did the lightning bolt stuff for the movie The Terminator. You remember. So it was like the same type of effects or whatever. I don't know how they did it, but yeah, I read that little snippet of information somewhere. So
honestly, that's
exactly.
awesome.
I mean,
yeah. Well, that part for me was like that was like the most like that really showed the effects that you could do with this whatever technology or backstory this movie had. Like showing that, especially the big hog or pig that had been half butchered, like it had no feet, and it had been gutted, right? And when that came out, I was like, "Oh, this is awesome! Like this is going to be great," And I kind of wish I had seen more of those scenes, but I get why it was a treat for that one. But you're like, for anybody watching the movie, if they could make it until that scene, that's a pretty good point. Like, you could watch the rest of it if you want to, but after that, like you could turn it off. Like that was pretty good,
well,
right?
I mean, I don't know if you're going to cover the best part of that scene, which was the liver.
Because you texted me when you saw it or something. Like when you watched it, you texted me something about the liver jumping on his face.
It's. I mean, you see all these animals and stuff coming to life, but then all of a sudden, like this animal liver somehow jumps off the counter and lands on Treat's face, like that little creature from Alien, And so he's fighting to get this piece of liver off his face, which you'd think would be really easy because it's just a small organ, but it seems to like really have a hold on him, and it's like a fight to the death.
It had no limbs, no nothing. Like you're not exaggerating when you said it's just a liver, like a blob. It's like they sat down in that and they just threw everything they could in this scene. Like, all right, what do we got, guys? It'd be cool if a liver jumped on his face. Y'all up for that? Like, sure, throw it in. More lightning, everybody.
That was. I'd love to be on the fly on the wall when they made those decisions.
And apparently this movie, I'm reading some of the trivia behind it. Apparently it was filmed in 37 days. So now we know why some of it could have seemed rushed, right? Oh, look, and I just found the tagline. You can't keep a good cop dead. What? So after the China shop, like you just have to string these scenes along, right? There's no like real, I don't know, big moment in the middle or whatever. It's just kind of I guess the next part that really stood out to me was Joe's death.
I was just thinking that same
Like-
thing.
Like, did you? All right, so I literally, and I'm not making this up. Like, when it happened, I was like, hold up, because I was watching it. Like I said, when I told you, I
Right.
watched it like at 2 a.m. Okay, it was like the most perfect time to watch this movie, and I was like, wait a minute, did I fall asleep? Let me rewind it, and so I had to rewind it twice to make sure that was in fact Joe's character that had
Yeah.
been killed. Like, did that, one, all right, when you were watching it, what did you think? And two, did it even process the first time you saw, like, hold up, how the heck did Joe Piscopo just die? Like what, he had an off-screen death, basically, is what they did, like completely
because
off-screen.
If I remember,
So-
they Treat Williams and I think it was the autopsy doctor. Does an autopsy doctor have a name? I don't.
There's two. There's like there's Rebecca, which is the autopsy doctor, and then there was the other lady, the blonde lady that was a zombie herself, but we don't find that out till about 10 minutes after
So
Joe dies.
And I think they basically come into the room and there's Joe like hanging upside down in wasn't it a fish tank?
Yeah, it was in
So he
it was in an
basically drowned
aquarium.
in an aquarium. Like somebody held him upside down and drowned him in it, and his body is like completely stiff, his feet sticking straight out of this aquarium. And that was a funny moment.
Now, all right, to really linger on Joe Piscopo's death, because we really enjoyed him in this movie. When you're watching it, like, for one, you're right. His body is straight up. It's like
Right.
it's hanging from something. Okay, but a little detail is, like, in the movie itself, only maybe like an hour or two at most had passed, right? And Joe looked like his face had been in the fish tank for like 6 months. Like they went well above the decay factor in the underwater aquarium for what was like an hour time lapse. But it just shocked me that, like, because he is like the number 2 in the movie. It's him and Treat, like, the whole time. And he just was he just was dead. Like, it was like I had to rewind it twice. I was like, I don't think that's Joe's character, and yes, it was. They didn't even show him die on screen, or some epic battle being shoved into the fish tank.
Well, I mean, if you watch the end, I mean, it's fitting that he basically dies too. But
Yes.
But yeah, it's. I mean, and I don't know which Joe looks better, the alive one or the dead in the fish tank one.
I didn't mind him dead. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was like, oh, Joe, don't, oh no. But of course, this being a story about them bringing back to life, what did they do? They they brought Joe. Well, they didn't. Okay, so this.
Right.
Let's skip ahead. All right, so then at the end, we, like, some other stuff happens, and I know I'm skimming. It's just because really a lot, but not a lot happened. So in the end, we find out, one, who the big bad guy is. Okay. And in Joe's death, well, his character's name is Doug. Excuse me. In Doug's death scene, we find out a hint of who the bad guy is too. And then they reanimate Doug at the end, aka Joe Piscopo, and Joe is no longer the person that. He kind of came back a little less. Doug, basically, he was kind of like he was being controlled, right? And then him and Treat get into it. Treat talks him out of it, and then they end up killing the head honcho autopsy guy, and then breaking the machine, and then walking off into a cloudy light.
Right. Assuming
portal.
that they walked off into heaven. I'm gonna assume that. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Now the bad guy's death was pretty awesome, because apparently, that machine brings people back to life, but if you give it more power, then we see what happens with that. So.
Oh, that was an amazing. Like when that happened, that was a moment where it's like, oh, oh man, oh that was gnarly. Oh, that was, like that was pretty awesome. He ended up all over the room basically. But all right. So now, the the big bad guy that we see at the end, right? It's none other than Vincent Price, right? And I'm like, wait a minute. All right, so Vincent Price is in this movie. Vincent Price is like
Absolutely.
legendary. Like I mean just on every level, right? Like every horror movie level that you could ever conceive, Vincent Price is at the top. And nowhere on the poster did I ever see Vincent Price's name mentioned. And I was like, wait a minute, what? Like when I saw him, and like he kind of came in more so in the movie, but in the end, really, that's what the bulk of his scenes were. I was like, man, I would have at least given him some name recognition on the poster or something.
Yeah, because he would basically draw a crowd. Like anybody that's a fan of spooky horror or anything like that. I mean, you mention his name, and they're automatically going to be, wanting to watch it or wanting to listen to it or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, if you want people to watch that movie, that'd probably be the first thing you would put on there. That hey, Vincent Price is in this movie, but.
And then put Joe Piscopo's name. It would have been Treat, Vincent, and then Joe would have been kind of under the title.
Exactly.
Does that make sense? No, but like it was a cool movie though. And it was just it was like again one of those movies that like when you were talking like hey let's talk some movies. I was like, well I just saw Dead Heat. Would you mind watching that? And then we kind of chat about that because I'm the type that when I see a movie, I like to talk about it after.
Yeah, me too. I'm the same way.
And this one was just one of the ones that's like, well, I just kind of want to make fun of it, But I secretly kind of love it, Like yeah, I'm gonna mock it, but in the back of my mind, I will watch that again. Like it's added to my watch list basically.
It's a fun movie if you're going into this movie thinking that it's going to be something spectacular or earth-shattering or something like that. It's not going to be. But if you're looking for something fun, it's 1988, so it's campy. There's some good stuff in it. There's some funny stuff in it. So and then, one of the other things that I think we forgot to mention the fact that Darren McGavin is in this movie, and he's basically kind of a bad guy as well. And
yes,
it's so weird to me to see, like A Christmas Story's dad as a bad guy. Because, I used to watch him when he was, what was that program that he used to do at night? Like the Nightcrawler or Night Gallery.
Night
exactly.
Gallery. No.
So, I used to watch that, when I was young. And then, of course, he was the dad in Christmas Story. And then to see him like this, clearly wearing some kind of a weird hairpiece. And
and he was kind of like the I don't know, like the really, like he was their boss. But he was like on his license plate, what was it, like Dead Bodies?
Yeah, something.
Or Doctor, something. Like he was very arrogant too. Like the complete opposite from A Christmas. Like it was like, oh
so
man.
It's. I know it's obviously he's an actor, character actor. But it's just it's because the first thing I see when I see him is A Christmas Story, and he's beloved. I love that guy in that movie. So.
So I ruined it for you with Dead Heat, right? Like,
I'm just gonna have to go back and watch A Christmas Story next week so that I can cleanse the palate, I guess.
Oh man, so I would recommend. Dead Heat was one of the ones again I'd never heard of, and then but I didn't really during that time period get to watch a lot of movies anyway. So for me to revisit it, like this really was everything that I wanted an 80s cop zombie movie to be. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I really wouldn't change a thing now, but if I redid it, I would. But, like, for that movie then, it's like, nah, it's perfect. It's perfect as
it definitely has the, it's kind of like, you take Beverly Hills Cop and Lethal Weapon and throw in a little bit of comedy and a little bit of zombie and then you got yourself a good movie called Dead Heat.
Jared gives it 2 thumbs up. Right?
I mean,
it's recommended by Jared.
It's fun, but yeah, I mean, I'd probably watch it again. I'd probably especially watch it again now that we've talked about it, and then who knows, maybe a year from now we can revisit it and talk about it again.
That's right. That's right. Well, what other movies, like, all right, so now we're kind of leading up to Halloween, and I have my basics that I like to kind of ramp myself up to, right? And especially with Shudder, not that Shudder sponsors anyway. I'm just a fan. I've kind of got my list. All right, so what is like your top? Just what's your top 3? And we'll do another episode and dive deeper into them. But like, what's your top 3 leading into Halloween?
I'm
movies?
definitely hoping that in our next session we can, like you said, dive into these. I think it's fun to talk about your favorite movies, and it's really difficult sometimes when somebody says, hey, name your top 10 Halloween movies or something, and you think, okay. So I started making this list, and I got to like number 25, and I'm thinking, okay, how am I going to narrow this down to just 10? Or yeah,
that's awesome. 25 so far. That's awesome. Well, what's your number one?
Number one, you talk about, because some people rate them where are they the scariest? Are they? Is it something that you kind of think about when you were a kid? Something like that. So my top 3, I'll just throw them out there. My top 3 are Hocus Pocus.
Okay.
That one for me is fantastic. The movie Sleepy Hollow, because I love the original story of the Headless Horseman and that kind of thing, and I thought Tim Burton did a great job with this movie. And so here's one that you may have never heard of, but the reason it's in my top is because I saw it as a kid. It was probably one of the first technically scary movies that I saw. I was probably like maybe 10 years old, but it was a made-for-TV movie on CBS, and it was called Dark Night of the Scarecrow. Ever heard of that?
What? Okay, I'm gonna put it right. I'm gonna put it down right now. Dark Night,
and I don't even know
Scarecrow.
if you can find it. I did watch it a couple of years ago. I found it on like Xfinity on demand. But yeah, so it was made for TV movie on like CBS back in probably like 1980, 1981. And it's basically about like this. I think they're in like Nebraska or something like that, and there's a guy that's mentally challenged. He's a guy that you'd recognize like I think he was on Law and Order for a number of years. But big guy, he's mentally challenged. He's friends with like the neighborhood kids and stuff. And then there's these bullies, these redneck bullies, who give him a hard time all the time. And they eventually, something happens where they think that this guy is involved, was part of something that happened to some kids in the neighborhood. So they basically hunt him down, and they're trying to kill him. And so he hides from them by getting into a scarecrow that's out in the cornfield. Like, so he crawls into the clothes and has like the burlap mask over his face. They end up killing him because they end up finding him. And then he basically, like, his ghost comes back for revenge on those guys that killed him. So it's, I mean, when you're 10 years old and that's like the first scary movie you see, like that, it kind of sticks with you for the rest of your life,
Man, that sounds do you think that's where you gravitated for your Wicked Harvest books with the Scarecrow? Is that like where maybe it started?
Yeah, and I think so. I mean, maybe it's one of those things where it's like, it frightened me, but then for some reason, like a scarecrow is like one of the symbols that I always equate with Halloween and things that are scary. So I absolutely love scarecrows, and yet I'm terrified of them. If that makes any sense, So so yeah, those three movies for me. But that one, like I said, it had an impact as a kid, and so I just kind of hold on to that one. And so, I always have the list of movies that I have to watch. For me, in September, like September 1st to me is the start of fall.
Amen. Yep, that's it.
And so once September 1st hits, like I don't care if it's 90 degrees outside still, it's fall to me, and I'm going to start watching, all the Halloween movies that I love. So.
Yes. I agree. It's funny because my wife and I'm a huge fan of like the classics, like Halloween, like I said, like the old school stuff, but also like the made for TV Disney movies, like Boogedy, The Return of Boogedy, what Girl versus Monster is a newer one, like some of the made for TV scary movies, like we absolutely love them. Like they're great. So it's like, so when you say instantly, like I've got it right here, Dark Knight of Scarecrow, like instantly made for TV, it's like I'm already excited because like it's just gonna be, especially if there's anybody who ever watched Boogedy on the Disney Channel, like that is a gem. Okay, like it is just a wonderful made for TV Halloween movie. But I would absolutely agree. It's not official until you watch Hocus Pocus.
Right.
And then when you watch Hocus Pocus, that to me is like, okay, now it's fall. That's it.
Yep, absolutely.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, hopefully on the next episode, we can dive into Jared's 300 top fall Halloween movies. It'll take like 8 episodes, but it'll be worth it because all of them are great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, man.
So now so I know you talked about those, but what are your top 3?
Oh, man. Okay, so my number 1 is Hocus Pocus. Like,
okay.
that is. Like, that's it. Like, that's what that officially starts Halloween for us in our house, okay?
Right.
All right, so then the number 2 is The Witches. Okay, you remember that? You remember The Witches?
Yep.
That is another one that's in the top, I would say the top 5. And then my wife gravitates away from the horror movie. Like, we watch the made for TV Halloween fantasy movies, but I have to watch the original Halloween at least once.
Okay.
I have to see
Yep.
I have to, like, the intro gets me going for Halloween, like the pumpkin, the slow-mo shot of the pumpkin, and just there's something about John Carpenter's score. It's like and everything about that movie, if you rewatch it now, it's not even that gory, it's not even that intense. It's just something about it that, when I partner that with my light Disney movies, I'm ready to go.
Yep. No, I agree with you. I think that movie is fantastic. In fact, I just watched it again probably about 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Because I had heard another podcast talking about it, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to rewatch that because it's been years. And, man, I think I liked it more then than I did, way back then.
Right.
Because you're right. I appreciate a lot of those things more, like the score and how they've got certain camera angles. And, like, it's a very suspenseful movie. Even though like there isn't like there's no blood gushing out, stuff. There's no, nobody's getting ripped up by chainsaws and all that kind of stuff. It's all this stuff is very subtle. There's just a lot of the way they set the scenes in the dark hallways and stuff.
Yep.
And like him just standing there next to the car just staring. I mean, that's so creepy.
It's like perfect. And I get on this kick, which is a great kick to be on. Don't get me wrong. Is like a John Carpenter early kick, right? Like,
okay.
Like if you have you seen the original Fog? The Fog. That is, I think he did it after Halloween, or not long after Halloween, right around the same time. That's another movie that is absolutely like one of the most suspenseful movies you'll ever see. And hardly anything happens in it. Like, they're watching this fog come over a bay, and then some stuff happens, and I'm not going to give it away, but it's like, it's just, it's like, you're watching, it's like, man, if they would do this today, one, it would be completely different, full of special effects, and it would just have a different feel to it. But like this, it's just a whole nother level of suspense, and I love it. So it's like, and then he also did a show that was like, I love the original Creep Show, and I could do 20 episodes on that. He did a show like that called Body Bags, and John Carpenter was in it. Like he was like the morgue guy, and it was the same thing. I think he had like 3 or 4 stories in it, and they were just like pure John Carpenter, right? Huh. But they were, you know, a little bit of funny, a little bit of gore, like not gore, but like a little bit of, you know, horror. But it was just what, like, I just love that whole time period, and I think that's why I love like movies like Hocus Pocus. I know that was made much later, but like they have these elements in it, but they do not. They don't have to show you anything, right? Like Hocus Pocus, I know is not like even in the same genre, but it's the same. Like you could almost watch Halloween with kids now. Like nothing, you know, almost, not quite. Don't do it though.
Right.
Nobody had that. Don't say, you know, Woody did not give you the okay to do that. But you know what I'm trying to say. Like everything is just kind of lighter, you know, and it's like not so heavy. And I think that's what makes them so just suspenseful and just so eerie. And if you have not seen it for a while, go watch The Fog. That is worth a revisit.
Yeah, I think I just watched the one, and maybe it was like the newer one.
Yes,
that I watched.
It had the guy from Smallville in it, right? Like, Tom Welling had him in it. Yeah. No, man. Yep. This was watch the original had Jamie Lee Curtis. Like right after she did Halloween, it was like, I think it was like he did Halloween, and I think he did The Fog right after. Okay. But it takes place on the water, and this lady runs this radio station, and there's a legend behind it. I don't want to ruin it, but like every effect in it is practical, and it's like it's just the suspense leads up to the end. And I don't want to spoil again. The priest in it is a well-known character, all this stuff, but like it's again like there's really no gore or anything.
Right.
And it's just the whole time it's just suspenseful, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a great movie.
Well, and that's what I like too, is I like the more suspenseful kind of thing where, and I love the movies where you can use your imagination and kind of let it go crazy, even if it's not on the screen, you know?
Exactly.
So,
man,
but yeah, hopefully we will, I mean, I've got, a lot of other, movies we can talk about. So
well, I think we could do a whole series on just Halloween movies, right? Like, I mean, that's it. And then you add in John Carpenter, then you add in made for TV Disney movies. That's a whole nother thing I love. So I think man, we'll absolutely do this again. I could talk for hours on movies. So this is wonderful.
Oh, me too.
Well, thank you everybody for listening to Jared and I talk Did Heat. If you haven't seen it, you just go watch it and just laugh with us about it. And then, Jared, let's get back together and do some spooky movie talk.
We will absolutely do that for sure. Thank you for listening, everyone. You can find my spooky stuff at wickedharvestbooks.com or Wicked Harvest on Facebook and Author Smelker on Instagram.
Be sure to check out our website at hillcityparanormal.com and call our haunted hotline at 701-HAUNTED or 701-428-6833 with your spooky tale. Thank you for listening to Hill City Paranormal.